All right, students. So welcome to week 2, where this week we will finally learn the first level of music, which is learning how to read notes in our treble and bass clef. All right. Now, over the years, I've come across many students who've been playing instruments for a long time or singing for a long time, but they never really developed the ability to read music. And the problem with that is if you want to really up your musical skills, you got to have the reading as part of it. If you just want to do music for fun, I guess you could play guitar and read tabs or just play by ear. But if you want to take your musicianship to another level, reading music is a must. And reading music involves two different things: the ability to look at note names and know what note you're looking at, and then the second is to look at rhythms and understand how is this music going, how does it go, and you can't just rely on somebody that's going to tell you all the time this is how it goes, and you cannot rely on, well, let me just listen to it over and over and over and over and I'll try and figure it out that way. Yeah, if you can read, you have up your musicianship skill by 500%. So let's start with understanding the staff. Okay, the 5 lines that music is written on is called the staff. So music is a language, and like all languages, there are rules to how it's written down. And again, because it's a language, you need to develop the ability to read the language and write the language. And because music is a language of sound, of course any language is a language of sound, it has no words to speak, especially if you play an instrument. It's just sounds. So this staff allows us to place notes on the various spaces and lines. And what will happen is you'll see as visually notes move up, the sounds move up. And visually as the notes move down, the sounds move down. Now in music, we've got 5 lines. See, 5 lines here, 5 lines here. We say first line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line. We don't go opposite. It goes from here. Same thing with the spaces. So there's 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we duplicate this in the treble clef, the bass clef. The treble clef is where we're going to put all of our higher sounding pitches. And the bass clef is where we're going to put our lower sounding pitches. Now in a band or orchestra, some instruments that would be reading treble clef might be flutes, clarinets, violins. Bass clef would be low instruments like a bass, cello, bassoon, things like that, instruments that had a very low sound. Okay. Now, of course, there can be overlapping. You can have a low instrument, like let's say a trombone, but a trombone could play high enough to actually play notes up here. But even if a trombone plays notes that are up here, they're still notated in the bass clef, so it's not switching back and forth all the time. So trombones read in the bass clef, and we'll read next week how that works with these ledger lines. But anyway, in a choir, women would sing in the treble clef because they have higher voices. So in this, you find the sopranos and the altos. And bass clef, you'd have the men, the tenors and the basses, because they have the lower voices. Okay, so where do we read these notes and how do we read them? Well, music, the musical system, we use letters. We use the letters of the alphabet. We're basically using A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we start over again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it just continues. So I've got here a little keyboard, and I'll show you. So I'll just start here. This is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now we're back to the beginning of the alphabet. A, B, C, G, etc., etc. Now, in a couple of weeks, you'll be learning all about the keyboard and understanding where the letters are and how they work, because with the keyboard, you can actually see distances between sounds. And what you'll learn is things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I can say the distance from this C to this C is an octave. All right, it's 8 octave. But that's for later. So anyway, I just wanted to show you how the letters go one after the other. So when we're looking at our pitches, here we start and the letters go up. Now some students say, well, why did they decide to call this one an E? Why did they decide to call this one an F? There's a G, and then we finish G, so we go back to A. And the reason being is because you had to call them something. So back in the day, this treble clef actually used to be a fancy G. See, can you see it? Used to be a G. So they said, we're going to designate this line to be G. Sometimes the treble clef is called the G clef. That's G. So if this guy's G, well, then if you go backwards in the alphabet, you wind up going this way, F, E, E, F, G. If you're going forward, well, remember, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, after G, you get A, and you go right on up. A, B, C, D, E, F, and of course, we could continue on higher and higher and higher if we wanted to. Right now, we just want to learn the notes that are on the lines and the spaces. Now, if we take our treble clef notes and separate them out, we wind up with E, G, B, D, F. So just the lines are E, G, B, D, F. Now, at this, see what I took? Now, at this point, some students are just like, well, how can I remember this? How did I not get all mixed up? I always like saying, remember this sentence. Every good bird does fly. That's what I like using. Now, when I first started piano lessons in first grade, my teacher taught me, every good boy does fine. Okay. Now, I personally liked the every good bird does fly. Whatever you want to do, this can help you remember this. All right. And the spaces are easy. They spell the word face, and that's easy. Space, face. All right. So now when you look at a note, let's just say you saw this, you can say, hey, I know what letter that is. That's A. And you remember where your notes are. Now, I do want to mention this. There might be a handful of people in the class who already know this stuff. Great, fantastic. Then this is just easy for you. Many people in this class have not had this before. Either way, we're all starting from the first level. All right. So E, G, B, D, F, F, A, C, E. Now we get to the bass clef. This is where we're putting low notes. Now this used to be a fancy letter. This used to be a fancy G. This used to be a fancy F. Can you see it? That used to be a fancy F, and that's saying right here, these two little dots, that line is F. So we're going to call that F, which means the rest of the way you can count your letters, up or down. So there's the G, and then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Now, it's also been my experience with this class that a lot of people know one of the clefs really well. So some people know treble really well, but they don't know bass. Some people know bass really well, but they don't know treble. Well, in this class, it's important to learn both of these. Okay, so be aware. All exercises will contain treble and bass. All exercises for the rest of the semester. So we'll do what we did here. We'll separate the lines from the spaces. If we separate out the line notes, we end up with G, B, D, F, A. Now, when I first started studying piano, I was taught good boys do fine always. Then I started studying accordion in grade school, elementary, and I learned great big dreams for America. Then later on, when I started studying trombone, my teacher taught me great, big, dogs, fight, animals. Whatever is going to help you remember this order, GBDFA. Sometimes I'll have students get mixed up. They'll say great dogs, fight big animals. Well, see, your letters are out of order. See, the letters are still going to go in succession. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. See? And those are all those in-between notes there. And how do we remember the space notes in bass clef? All cows eat grass. Now, how do we keep from not getting mixed up? A lot of students say, boy, I cannot remember if the treble clef was every good bird does fly, or it's here, every good bird does fly, or is this great big dogs, fight animals? Here's how you remember my easy way. This is why I like using my bird and my dogs down here. As when I was first taught piano, I was told these guys are every good boy does fine. Then I was taught good boys do fine always. And I'd always get these two mixed up. But then later I learned, hey, you can say every good bird does fly. Great big dogs fight animals. Maybe some of you who have taken lessons have learned different things. Either way, it's just a way to get you to learn your note names. And this is how I remembered everything. Treble is where we have the high pitches. So guess what? The birds fly high. The face is the higher part of your body. So everything here deals with high. So the dogs and cows aren't high, but the birds and faces. And the bass is low. Well, great big dogs fight animals. Dogs and animals are low to the ground. And all cows eat grass. When a cow's eating grass, his head is low to the ground. So think of the animal ones, great big dogs fight animals, and all cows eat grass as being the low, and these guys, every good bird does fly, and face as being the high. Okay, so let me show you how that would work if we're looking at something like a scale. Let me go back here to the modules. I'll pick something that's coming up later down the line. Let's see. If we look at a scale, look at that. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right, so if I go to my keyboard real quick, this is what's there. So if you're going to sight sing that, you would say C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and backwards, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. And you can see we all have different scales. This is later in the semester. And the letters go one after the other. Okay, so just a little preview of how that works. All right, so let's go back to this week, week 2. And let's take a look at what I've given you for basic pitch identification. This is your first assignment off of Tone Savvy. All right, and this is what it's going to look like when we get there. You are going to demonstrate that you know your note names in treble and bass clef. So you're going to go here. Now you can always practice. You can just practice. You don't have to submit assignment. If you're going to practice, you can remove the ledger lines. I have already done that. So when you go to do this exercise, you will not have ledger lines. And let's see, that should do it. So this is what your assignment will look like this week. All right. If you want to learn how to read music, you have to be able to identify this note. All right, well, what did we learn? This is treble clef. That's the fourth line. Let's look at our chart. The chart says, oops. The chart says the fourth line in treble clef is D. And if you don't want to keep on looking back at the chart, you can remember every good bird does fly. And look at that. Every good bird does. That's a D. Every good. Now this is a space. Space, face. This is the third letter. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the third letter of the word face. What's the third letter of the word face? C. What's that? Every. First letter of the word face. Now let's say you forgot every good bird does fly. Face. Let's say you forgot all that stuff, but you just don't have your chart with you. We'll get a hint. Oh man, that's a big hint. That's an E. Got it. All right. There we're back to D. Every good bird does. Every good bird. And there's the second letter of the word face. So this should not take you too hard to get, especially if you can always go back to your chart. Everybody should be able to get 100%. Now let's go back here. Let's continue on. And let's do bass clef. Same thing, if you're going to practice, take out the ledger lines. And here we go. Now we're in bass clef. Now some students will make this mistake. They'll say, oh, that's the second space. Face. Second letter of the word face. Oh, what did I do wrong? We're bass clef. And in bass clef, the spaces are all cows eat grass. So a C. The second space is C. So we come over here. Let's correctly identify that as all cows. We got it. All cows eat. Perfect. All cows eat grass. Now let's assume we're getting mixed up. We don't have a chart with us, and we cannot remember if this is great animals fight big dogs, good burritos do fine always. And let's say you just can't remember. This used to be a fancy F. If this is F, go backwards in the alphabet. F, the space is E, which means this is D. So we went backwards in the alphabet. Then you say, oh, now I remember. Great big dogs. Great big. Great. Great big. Great big dogs fight animals. Now I want you to notice something. That's an A, but this one down here is also A. So they're both A, but this A is lower. Let's say we need a hint. This line is between F and A, so that's a G. So the homework for this week should be pretty easy. And the thing is, the more you do this, let's say you've never done this before, the more you do this, the more adept you can become at looking at a note, and you know it. I know when I'm reading music, I just read it. I'm at a point where I never have to go, great big dogs. It just is. Same thing. When you guys look at this, you see note names. You don't have to sit there and go, that's an N. This is note, this is names. You just see it. That's what happens in music. The better you get at reading, you just know what it is without having to work it out. So that's the exercises for that. And the last, I want to show you how this works. I pulled this up. So now take a look at this. This music starts on a C. I'll play C. That's a C. Now, you're going to learn a little bit about rhythm. But if we look at this, we see it goes C, D, D again. D up to E. E, E. There's two E's. Up to F. Up to G. Then back down. F, E, D, E, E. There's two E's. Now, why does this E look different? We're going to do a little bit of that in this lecture. This E looks different than that because this is held a different length of time than that one. But they're both E's. That's an E because it's on the first line. That's an E because it's on the first line. First space, F, G, F, E, D, C, D, E, F, E, D, C. Now, on our Every Good Bird Does Fly at our face, these notes were not there. But again, if you just go backwards, F, E, D, C. That's a ledger line. We'll get to that next week. So, we're going to get into this rhythm in a bit, but listen to this. Now, if you know what notes you're looking at, you could actually sing those letters. C, D, D, E, E, F, G, F, E, D, E, E, F, G, F, E, D, C, D, E, F, E, D, C. And that's what sight singing is. You have the ability to sing the pitches. Which direction are the pitches moving? In this case, kind of up and then down. You recognize what letters you're singing, and you recognize rhythms. And that's what we'll get to right now. We'll do a little rhythm work. So I'm going to go over here, and this is just an introduction to rhythm. We'll keep it nice and easy. We're going to get really, really into rhythm in a couple weeks, but for right now, we're going to go as easy as possible just to introduce you to rhythm. I will also put an assignment up for rhythm that you can work on. So watch this, introducing you to rhythm. When you do this on Tone Savvy, they're going to ask you to calibrate your metronome. So you're going to hear 4 clicks, and then you're going to tap your rhythm pad so you can tap in time. So when you see this go gray, I'm tapping my mouse pad. 3, 4. Okay, I am now calibrated. Now let's talk about the basics of reading rhythm notation. Like I said, we're going to get really heavy into all these numbers because there's a whole bunch of different numbers. We're going to get really heavy into why does this guy look different than this guy? We're going to get into that. But right now, I'm going to give you a real basic introduction. Right now, we're going to count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we're just counting at each of these measures, this measure contains 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This kind of note is called a half note. So it means it gets half of 4. So this is going to be 1, 2. This guy's called a quarter note. He gets 1 beat. So he's going to get, this guy's beat 1, beat 2. This guy gets beat 3. This guy gets beat 4. So this rhythm is going 1, 2, 3, 4. And take a look at this. It's a duplicate. 1, 2, 3, 4. See if you're going to read this rhythm. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you're going to do with this exercise is you're going to tap your rhythm pad. And you're going to tap out the rhythm. Now, if you'd like, you can practice these Practice as many as you want, and you'll become better at reading rhythms. What if we hear it? 2, 3, 4. Did you all see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the metronome click, 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 click is giving you the tempo. Listen to it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you tap on your mouse pad that rhythm. You don't have to hold down for that half note. You can just tap it once and you'll be fine. You'll notice what I do. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I successfully understood that rhythm. All right, let's see what happens here. This is a whole note. That's the only thing there. It gets the whole 4 beats. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. This gets 1. This guy comes in on 2. He's a half note, so he's going to get 2 of them. So he's going to get count 2, count 3, and there's 4. So this goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see it? Listen. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Watch it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when you think you can tap it and you understand what you're looking at, you can now tap that rhythm. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's see how this one goes. 1, 2, we're counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's listen. 2. Listen again. All right, let's tap it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, with those half notes, it is not necessary to hold them down. Let's try this without hearing it. Looks like it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're counting to 4. Now, I'm purposely going to do this first one wrong. Maybe you can tell me what I did wrong. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, what did I do wrong? What I did wrong is I counted too fast. The clicking was going click, 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 click. And I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I should have gone 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have tapped with the metronome. Now I'll do it right. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Let's hear what this sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I don't think I can tap that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I do want to point out, like for instance here, if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, that does not mean you go tap, 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 tap. If you do that, I'll do that. You'll see how wrong it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap, 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 tap. See, I tapped everything wrong. I should have done this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the important thing is, and the reason you hear that metronome clicking, is a good music student can't just read the rhythm. They have to read it in tempo. Because if you're deciding, well, maybe I'll go fast, maybe I'll go slow, that's not going to help anybody. All right. Now let me show you how this all works with this music. See what we got? Now we're going to see how we can read the music, notes and rhythms. This is going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And later down the line, when we get to it, you'll see that guy's called the whole note. This kind of looking guy is called the half note, and that guy's called the quarter note. Now that you know how to read your letters, C, D, D, E, E, F, G, F, E, D, E, E, F, G, F, E, D, C, D, E, F, E, D, C, and you know the basics of rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4. Listen to what it sounds like. And at home, right now, I challenge you to do this. Sing, if you want, sing it first time through like this. Just la. Sing this. La, 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 la. La 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 la. And now I challenge you to play it and sing the letters. That's a C. C, D, D, E, E, F, G, F, E, D, E, E, F, G, F, E, D, C, D, E, F, E, D, C. And now I'm going to play this, and again, it's kind of an honor system. See if you can do that. That's a C. Sing the letters and see if you can sing that right. And if you can sing the letters with the rhythms, you are sight singing music. Go. C, D. All right, how'd you do? You do pretty good? I think you did. I think you did just fantastic. So, guys, that is the lecture. Again, easy lecture this week. Basically, you have learned how to read your pitches and treble and bass, but we're going to keep on going because every class session you're going to be reading these notes. And, of course, you just got introduced to rhythm, and you're going to be getting a lot more rhythm, but you have just got to the first step. All right, so enjoy the work this week. I think you'll have fun doing it. And if you got any questions, email me. Talk to you guys later.